Hey, welcome to Garden Dialogue, and this is episode 4. And right now for this segment, we're actually going to talk about the Rihanna-Chris Brown case, which has, over the last, month or so or whatever it was, or maybe longer, I don't even really know. It's just been, everyone's been talking about it. It's all over YouTube. Oprah did a show on it, an entire hour.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
and it was on CNN, it was everything, and even CNN commented on Oprah's show about it.
Oh,
You know what I
really?
mean? So, what do I think of the situation personally? I'm a little lost, to be honest with you. I understand the story. I know the story.
Do you?
I understand the story that they say is the truth. There's an affidavit that says, this and this and that and that and that and the other thing happened to her. Okay, so we'll assume that this is the story, that this affidavit is true.
It's strictly an assumption.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, right, it's strictly an assumption.
Because it's the only thing I really have to go on, too.
Right,
so.
there's nothing else out there to really, pick information out from. But I don't understand women. I don't understand women. I have to say, because, my understanding of women is that, in this day and age, it's 2009, I guess since the 80s, I'm a child of the 80s, I grew up in the 80s, I never really, I never saw personally women as victims. I guess my mom's a pretty, strong woman.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be judgmental, but something like this that happens to a woman and allows it to happen too, and that's what it sounds like in the affidavit, but she's an idiot. I don't mean to say that about Rihanna, but I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Is it okay what Chris Brown did? No, but it's 2009. I don't understand. I don't see a weakness in women. So for me to actually hear that she allowed this to happen, I don't get it. So that's what I have to say on that.
Well,
are you startled because I basically called Rihanna an idiot?
No, not at all. Not at all, because,
I don't really think she's an idiot, but I don't get it.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to, get real personal about it, but I will tell you that someone very, very close to me was a victim of domestic violence. In fact, had this person not gotten away from the person that they were with, I'm sure that he probably would have killed her eventually. And
this person did get away.
Yeah, well, they got a divorce. They were married.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite common. I especially think that we live in a day and age where violence is in many instances actually glorified.
Yeah.
As a means of survival.
Yeah.
So I think it's very easy for situations to escalate into, especially, when there's anger involved. It's very easy for situations to escalate into situations of attack, whether it be verbal or physical.
I agree with that, and I understand that. Because it's so glorified as a means of protection for oneself, it happens so often.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, more often than I thought. Yesterday I learned that 1 out of every 4 women is a victim of domestic violence.
Yeah, that's pretty frightening.
Yeah, that's frightening. And I agree with you again. But what I'm saying is that okay, so it happens. Why do they not protect themselves? Why do they still want to stick up for the man? As Oprah said, love doesn't hurt. Why would you do that? I don't care how in love you are. You know what I mean?
Well, don't you think that maybe there's some self-esteem issues going on
Obviously.
there?
I'm glad you brought that up. Obviously there's some self-esteem issues. And I'm being judgmental right now. I really am, and I know that. Which is why, we're talking about this on the show, but had this be like some kind of public conversation in a bar or something like that, I wouldn't be on the topic very long because I don't like it, I don't really care. It's not something that I want to
I
set
didn't
my
even know-
vibrational frequency
I didn't
to.
even know who they were until you brought it up to me. So I was
Yeah.
like,
Well, I thought we should do it for the show. You
but
know,
obviously there's some self-esteem issues going on there. But you know what? The thing is that I think in many relationships, and Oprah, bless your heart, you don't really know what their relationship really is like.
It's true.
I mean, it could be that they very much do love each other, and that if that is indeed the case, you would hope that they can work it out, but all too frequently and all too often it ends up that once this has happened, it's probable. I'm not saying that I'm sorry. It can very well happen again. Once it happens, happens once. It's kind of like the condoning of it happening again. And it could be that that's just that's just their way of expressing their anger. I think I read that Chris Brown comes from a family where he has witnessed a lot of of women being beaten by men, and so as a child that leaves quite an impression on them, and like I said, I keep coming back to the society that we live in today, and how violence is really considered kind of it's just normal. Mm-hmm. It's just actually considered normal.
I'm not against or speaking for either one of them. Mm-hmm. Actually, as you mentioned yesterday in a private conversation about this with me, it takes two to tango.
I definitely agree with that.
And if you know anything about the law of attraction, nothing can come into your experience unless you're vibrationally aligned, unless your frequencies matched. And she probably, the way I would guess that those frequencies match is that she probably comes from a place where women are women, they're of lower status perhaps.
More subservient.
Yeah, and he comes from a place where he saw I think he said he saw his mom being beat. He saw a lot of that. So instantaneously, it's sort of a reaction. He just learned growing up, even if he knows that it's not the best thing to do, he learned growing up that this is the way you just act. It's sort of like a reflex. Mm-hmm. And we know in science that what I'm about to say is true, that all a thought is really is a vein or a cord of sorts going into the socket. Mm-hmm. Brain patterns. And it's difficult to